So, Voidtrain is a game that I've been waiting for years. I've been following the game on and off pretty much since it was first announced. And after what I've seen, I'm going to say do not buy this game. It really feels as though they are just after money. And we're going to talk about all of that in a moment. But we're going to get into the problems first. And yes, I know a lot of people are going to defend them because it's in early access. And I haven't even bought the game. I have played the demo. But after this video is done, I think some of you will change your minds towards this game. And I mean, it doesn't even seem that good of a release anyway into early access because it's sitting at mixed reviews on Steam. But some of the problems I've seen through the reviews is aggressive head bobbing that actually makes players feel sick. And all they've said about it is they are going to work on it. And when it comes to problems in this game, there is one big standout one that we'll go through after I've mentioned these other small things or smaller things. They're not small in any capacity. But some people are also saying the game feels like a looting and researching simulator. And apparently it's really tedious and everything like that when you're playing the early access version and not the demo. And there are problems with co-op, or there were, because the developers have been able to fix them quickly. There was basically an issue that caused the whole co-op player inventory to go missing upon leaving the game. And I mean the full inventory, everything your co-op players, say you're the host and you've got friends playing with you, all of your friends would have lost everything in their inventory, so they'd have to restart basically from scratch, even if you put multiple hours into the game. It's been fixed now, but that was a problem when it came into early access. And that's a problem within itself. And the last thing I want to mention before going into detail about the reason why I'm actually telling you not to buy it, or putting out the warning saying do not buy this game. And the final thing is, to invite your friends on Steam, you need to link your Epic Games account or it doesn't work. You can't get your friends into your game on Steam unless you have your Epic Games account linked. So the reason I'm saying do not buy this game is because this game, Voidtrain, should not be early access. They wanted an easy way into Steam and they got it. And they're going to have the added bonus of people defending it because it's in quote-unquote early access. What these developers did, or the publisher, I'm not entirely sure who it was, but there was an announcement for a Steam release years and years ago. I'm talking 2-3 years ago or something like that. When this game was announced, it was announced that it would be launching into early access on Steam. And shortly before it was supposed to release, they just completely disappeared. They went off Steam altogether. The game was just set to coming soon or whatever, set to coming soon. And all of a sudden it popped up on Epic Games. And this game has been in early access since 2021. The 12th of August to be specific, and there are videos and stuff on YouTube of people playing this game in its early access form ever since 2021. So it's almost been in early access for 2 years. And looking at the roadmap, yeah, it seems as though this is right at the beginning of early access. So what the fuck have they been doing for the last, say, year and a half? Because if you look at the early access FAQ on Epic Games, I'm actually going to pop this up on screen so that you guys can see it. It says what's included in early access. It includes the base or the basic version of the game in a 4-player co-op. Other features include, but are not limited to, train building, narrative story, 4 biomes to explore, more than 30 levels of tech progress, witch islands and arena islands, depots, and many other vistas. What is the current state of this game? The game is currently in beta, and beta is a form of testing that is relatively close to full release. And if it was even a beta for early access, which I don't think they would realistically run, then it also says how long will the game be in early access. The development will last for another year and is planned to be released in 2022. So if the early access was supposed to release in 2022, not entirely sure if they've got that done, but then would you have beta on an early access? I don't think so. You would have a beta that would be quote-unquote early access. It would be this same thing pretty much, because this is the early access FAQ and they've said that it's currently in beta. So it's been sold on Epic Games for almost 2 years under early access. And they said they plan to update the game via a milestone system with a roadmap to be presented on the early access release. So if it was a beta to early access, they've been running it for almost 2 years and they've been charging people money to get their hands on the game and play it. And then all of a sudden, they must have lost their exclusivity timer or whatever. They launch it in May of 2023 on Steam, and it's in early access as though in the last year and a half there's been zero development made, like progress made on the game. Because the roadmap on Steam is Revision 1, and it's from May 2023. It reflects their current plans. So playing now in this game, you have the prologue and story chapter 1. You have train upgrades up to the diesel era, modular weapons, you can tame pets, there are enemy trains and outposts, puzzle and arena islands, prophecies which are path modifiers, 10 plus creatures and enemies. Coming next, which is like there's no time frame of when it's actually going to be releasing, improved character faces. So the game's been playable. Obviously, there was a lot of development time before it released in 2021 on Epic Games. But coming next is improved character faces, mini-games, new void creatures, combat and AI improvements, interactive musical instruments, new train upgrades, and story chapter 2. And then coming later, new side quests, the pet social interactions, more creatures and enemies, and story chapter 3, which is the ending. So if that's the case, they're getting money from players on Steam that now have access to it, but they've also got a lot of money from players on Epic Games when it was in early access on there and has been since 2021. So why is it like literally chapter 1 and the prologue, that stage of early access, why is it there in 2023 when it's been playable for nearly 2 years on the Epic Games Store? And then they release it on Steam, and in order to invite your friends, you have to link your Epic Games Store account. And a lot of companies, like because they ditched Steam quite close to launch and went over to Epic Games, and I think some of it is because Epic offers you more revenue, like a higher percentage than Steam does when you're selling a game on their platform. But I also think they gave them an exclusive deal, so your game is exclusive to our platform for a certain amount of time, a year, 18 months, whatever it may be, and they would have had like basically just this like cash amount. So say it was $1 million, they had $1 million handed to them by Epic so that Epic could claim that exclusivity right. So I feel as though this game should never have released at all in early access on Steam. They should have kept it on Epic Games, went through early access, launched it into its full release, and then decided to launch the game in its full release on Steam. And when it's been playable for nearly 2 fucking years on Epic Games, they release it into early access on Steam, and there are inventory problems in co-op, wiping everyone's inventory if they're not the host. When they leave that session, then what development progress have they made from the early access beta they had on the Epic Games Store? I don't think they've been actively developing this game. I don't know about its updates and things like that on Epic Games, but I don't think they've done much work whatsoever. They just released the early access, made a bit of progress or whatever, got it to a certain point on the Epic Games Store, and then just ported it over to Steam as well. So say for an example, you just had the prologue on the Epic Games Store through the 18 months or whatever it's been since it launched on Epic. They've just created chapter 1, they've put a pet in and things like that. And they've been really, really slow developing it because they haven't really needed to do much development. And we're now sitting at what they've got for sale on Steam. It's £22.50 to grab this game with a 10% discount. So it's a £25 early access title that has a roadmap with coming next and coming later, which the coming next improved character faces. The game's been playable for nearly 2 years on Epic, and it obviously had development time before it launched on Epic. So why has it essentially taken, we'll say, 3 to 4, possibly even 5 years to get to where it is now, to the point where they're going to improve character faces in the future? It's an absolutely bizarre release. It went from 66% with 400 reviews down to 65% with 417. So the more people that play this game, the more negativity is getting towards it, like the negative reviews and stuff. And I'm guessing it's just because people don't enjoy this game. Like, I've seen a lot of people saying that it's just tedious, grabbing your resources and things like that. And not only that, people are talking about game-breaking bugs and just glitch after glitch and stuff. Some people are wanting a neutral review option on Steam. I mean, people have been asking for that for a very, very long time. And apparently, it's not even just inviting your friends, having to use the Epic Games UI or whatever. Someone said that every time you start the game, it opens a browser because it forces you to connect Steam with Epic Launcher. Apparently, the characters look horrible, the lack of resources and the slow building gets boring. The performance is there though, according to a lot of people. And not only that, I've seen that they are supposedly trying to damage control. The way they're going about it though, the community are not having it. This is the second person I've seen talking about this already. Someone said that some of the developers or the staff have been quite abusive towards other people. And then someone says any negative reviews and discussions have been banned from their forums. I saw some in-depth review about the game that was like 10 full pages of explaining why the user didn't like the game. The user was then banned in 15 minutes from the forum. And then after they posted about something wrong in the store page in the discussion forum, they were permanently banned from that forum by a Voidtrain developer with the following comments saying they were rude. So if you criticize this game, if you're negative about it in their forums and stuff, they are doing damage control. They are removing that stuff and they are banning you from their forums, which is fucking ridiculous. And it adds to my reasoning as to why not to buy this game. They don't deserve any money from Steam players whatsoever, especially because the game's been available for nearly 2 years on Epic and they've still launched it into a very, very sort of early version of an early access game. They literally have one story chapter with 2 coming in the future. And yeah, I really don't think it's worth wasting your money on this title. No matter how fun the gameplay might be for some people, I really, really do not think it's worth it. So it's definitely a shame because I was interested in this one, but Hype Train Digital, the developers and publishers for it, same company, they seem to have taken we want money, we're not going to put in as much effort as we should have done. And I mean, there's no excuse for it. The game's been available on Epic for almost 2 years, and it's still just the very, very beginning of early access on Steam almost 2 years later. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is appreciated. If you wish to support me further as a creator, there are links in the description. Let me know your thoughts about the video in the comments. And if you want to watch more, you can click the video on screen. All support on the channel is greatly appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.